The paradox between the United States and South Africa. Politically barred, economically needed. In December, a strange kind of silence will fall over a meeting room in Florida. A country that helped found the modern G20 may be missing from the room, not because it resigned, not because it lost its seat, but because the host nation might simply refuse to let them in. Think about that for a second. South Africa, a full member of the G20, could be barred from attending the summit. This is unprecedented. No member has ever been unilaterally blocked from attending a summit by the host country. The decision comes from U.S. President Donald Trump following months of diplomatic tension with Pretoria. France has publicly objected. Diplomats are uneasy, and South Africa, the only African nation in the G20, may be left out. But while Washington pushes Pretoria away from the table, it is quietly investing millions of dollars into South African soil. This is the paradox. This is the story. To understand it, we need to go back to the beginning of the rift. Let's rewind and look at how we got here. Tensions escalated after accusations from the Trump administration. They claimed South Africa's government is anti-white and anti-American, citing violence against white farmers. Claims the South African government calls completely false. They invited international investigators to verify their data. They maintain these claims are a political tool, not a reflection of reality. President Cyril Ramaphosa described the move as punitive and based on misinformation. That word misinformation is important as not everyone in the international community agrees with Washington's assessment. Then came an unusual moment in global diplomacy. France stepped in. French Ambassador David Martinon stated publicly, South Africa is a full-fledged member of the G20 and should be part of all its meetings. Let me pause here to explain why this is such a big deal. This is rare. G20 members almost never challenge one another publicly. Why? Because the G20 is not like the Security Council. It has no formal enforcement mechanism. Because the G20 operates by consensus. No country is supposed to exclude another. Consensus means everyone agrees or nothing moves forward. If one country starts excluding another, the entire system breaks down. And yet, the US is attempting to do exactly that. But this is where the story turns completely. Let me take you somewhere else, far away from the leather chairs and flags of the G20. Meanwhile, in Phalaborwa, while diplomats argue over meeting rooms in a quiet town in Limpopo province, something very different is happening. Imagine two massive terraced hills. They look like part of the landscape, but they aren't natural. In Phalaborwa, two massive dunes of mining waste sit at an old chemical plant. They look like sand hills, but inside them, buried in what was once considered trash, is a treasure that modern superpowers cannot live without. Inside them are rare earth elements critical to modern warfare, robotics, electric vehicles, and advanced technology. And this is where the United States is investing $50 million, not symbolically, strategically. Through the International Development Finance Corporation, the U.S. government is backing a project to extract rare earth minerals. The partner is TechMet, the operator is Rainbow Rare Earths, and the stated reason is not diplomacy. It is defense. Pure, unemotional, supply chain defense. Now, let me show you why these specific names matter. The Phalaborwa project aims to produce neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, terbium. If those sound like science fiction words, here is what they actually do. These are used in high-performance magnets found in missile guidance systems, fighter jets, wind turbines, electric vehicles, robotics. Without these four elements, a precision missile becomes a dumb rocket. An F-35 loses its radar lock. An electric vehicle motor simply doesn't spin. Right now, China dominates the global processing of these elements. We're talking about over 85% of global refining capacity. That's not a market share. That's a chokehold. The United States is trying to catch up. And Africa has become the new front line in this mineral race. From Mozambique to Zambia to Congo, Washington is increasing mineral investments across the continent. Because without these materials, modern defense systems cannot be built at scale, which makes Phalaborwa far more important than it looks. This is where the contradiction becomes impossible to ignore. Let me say that again, because it is the entire point of this video. The same administration criticizing South Africa politically is betting part of America's future defense supply chain on South African minerals. Politics says distance. Strategy says dependence. The rare earth extraction in Phalaborwa is expected to begin in 2028 and run for 16 years. 16 years! That takes us past 2, maybe 3 presidential terms. This is not short-term engagement. This is long-term reliance. And it is happening while South Africa is being pushed out of diplomatic spaces. When France objects to South Africa being barred from the G20, it is not only defending Pretoria, it is defending the rules of global governance. Think of it this way, the G20 is like a neighborhood watch. Everyone has a say. If the biggest neighbor decides someone else can't come to the meeting anymore, the whole idea dies. French President Emmanuel Macron and his diplomats understand something crucial. If one member can remove another from a consensus forum, the credibility of the forum itself weakens. And many G20 members quietly agree. Because today it is South Africa. Tomorrow, it could be anyone. South Africa is the only African member of the G20. That gives it an outsized voice. But that's not the real reason it matters. It sits at the intersection of African mineral wealth, Western industrial demand, and Chinese processing dominance. That makes it geopolitically unavoidable. You can criticize it, you can pressure it, you can attempt to isolate it diplomatically, but you cannot replace what sits in its ground. And Washington knows this. That's why the check clears, even when the invitation does not. South Africa may be kept out of the meeting room in Florida, but it remains inside the supply chain of the world's most powerful military. Because in geopolitics, access to minerals often matters more than access to microphones. And in Phalaborwa, the United States is proving that strategy quietly overrules politics. So the next time you hear about a diplomatic boycott, a barred invitation, or a political rift, ask yourself, who is still doing business in the ground? Because that is the real relationship. You can bar a country from a summit. You cannot sanction the soil beneath it. This is Sal Pierce signing off from Vlog End, where we work to uncover the true stories of Africa and the world. Thank you for watching. If this deep dive challenged your thinking and helped you see the complex forces shaping the African continent more clearly, please consider subscribing. It helps us continue this work and ensures you never miss what comes next. We truly appreciate your support.